Liverpool 2, Manchester United 2. We are Houston Red Army. We're trying to analyse, as the three wise men, how United did not leave that game with 3 points and how Liverpool should be thanking themselves for getting a point out of that game. I'm here with Callum. You can see he's smartly dressed. Thank you very much. And Josh, our globe-trotting Houston Red Army. Callum, what did you think about the game today going into the game?
Going in, I definitely thought we'd lose by two goals. We predicted a 2-1 or a 3-1, something like that. I think we're going to get battered. The way we've been playing in the form we have, the new system. It's everyone's seeing blood in the water and really conquering us. And I think that's also too part of their team preparation was us seeing us as our weaknesses, and we came out strong from the very beginning. And I think it really set them back. It's almost like they weren't prepared to see this Man United team.
Exactly. Josh, considering where we've been these last 3 games, set pieces, poor defending, going to Anfield with a hostile environment, a team chasing the league title.
So I kind of had 2 sentiments that were coexisting.
Right.
So let's not sugarcoat it. We've been humiliated the last few games. Okay.
You're telling me, mate.
I mean, I've seen the comments where people were saying like, it's not even fun to watch United play anymore. I've seen that. I've seen those comments come out. It's like, you're not wrong, right? Like, at least in the past, sometimes like you lose, but okay, it's competitive. We haven't been competitive at all, right? So there was part of me that also, I'm not going to put it explicitly, but we also remember a Liverpool match that has happened in previous seasons where many goals were scored.
Oh.
Not on our side.
People think that's going to be repeated.
I still have
nightmares.
PTSD from that, all right? We're not going to mention it explicitly because I don't want to have a reaction. But anyways, we know that happened. So there's a part of me that saw that and was like, okay, I'm worried about that. However, what I've also learned when it comes to sports is that there are certain opponents that, because of the history, because of the rivalry, it doesn't matter who the manager is, it doesn't matter what your previous performance, there's something about it that goes and brings out more in players. I've seen it with the U.S. national team, regardless of how bad we've been playing. Sometimes when we play Mexico, there's just something different about the U.S.-Mexico that the guys show up. And I feel like that's similar with Liverpool. The guys know these are our main rivals, the Scousers, right? And I feel like regardless of where you're from, the guys playing for United know that. And I was like, that's the other part of me that says, regardless how we've been playing, I feel like they understand.
They'll stand up today.
The significance of this match.
Right.
And so, ultimately, I felt like the first part of the first half was we were struggling a little bit, right? It seemed like they had the more possession. They were pushing us up, but then as the half wore on, especially towards the second part of that, all of a sudden they found their confidence, and then we're going forward. We continued that into the second half, and I feel like we were actually very unlucky not to win this match with, I think, a little bit more precise finishing.
Yes.
We could have walked away with 3 points today. However, given what some people were expecting, that first side of me,
the whole football world said we're going to be, even the British media said we're going to be thrashed. It's a matter of how many.
Although, sir, you know that nobody trusts the British media.
Okay,
so.
I get that. I think it's okay. We'll discuss that another day. Don't be trying to diss us. Right. So as it stands, Callum, at 1-0, were you still confident, or you still thought Liverpool could come back?
No, still confident. I mean, they came in and they're still attacking. There was not any part of that game that we sat back. So, I mean, down a goal and continuing out the game, we kept on pressing forward. So, yeah, confidence in
When we were leading 1-0.
So here's the thing. I actually, once we went up 1-0, knowing United, I expected actually that we were going to concede a goal. Come on, we know our team at this point, right? And I was actually surprised that it took so long for us to concede a goal, because especially recent history, we score a goal, and then within the next 5 minutes, we go and concede. Sometimes within the next minute. And so that's actually what I was expecting, because we have a habit of getting on a high, not doing the basics, and then somebody scores. So, but whenever they came back and scored, I was like, okay, I expected this to happen. However, because this is Liverpool, I was like, the guys know the significance of this match. I don't think they're going to give up. Well, and also, I feel like, not for every match, but I have seen since Amorim has been manager, they have shown some more fight than I've seen
Under 10 Hag.
in the previous.
If you look at it also too, if you compare this team to the FA Cup semifinal against Liverpool last year, the only difference of players was actually Rashford out and I forgot who else in. So when we were in that game, I think it ended up being a 3-2 game, and we took it to them from the very beginning to the end.
And that was also another match where no one expected us to have a chance.
Exactly.
Right?
So I saw that exact same team. So we're going down, and I saw them to push through and to compete to the very end.
At 2-1, when Liverpool now got the advantage of dodgy penalty, VAR, whatever you want to call it, at 2-1, did you still believe United could come back, or you thought, okay, this is it now?
No, I honestly think they were still in the game. I mean, with the way the guys were still running it, I mean, Dallo and Mesraoui, those guys played great. And I think having the wing backs in this system is difficult because a lot of pressure on those two people, because they're like the center point of the transitions, right? And so to keep possession, move the ball in these little triangles from the side, those guys are on it the entire game. So seeing that, it's almost like the system, like we've been playing it for longer than we had for what Emmer's been in for nearly a month or two or whatever it is. It seems like we've been playing it longer. So seeing that we already had that kind of engine running for about a half hour, I still have confidence they're going to continue the work ethic, and so I didn't have any.
So you still believe there was another goal?
I still believed. Yeah, absolutely. And Diallo's been so tenacious throughout this, and having him in there, the wingbacks playing great. Højlund's been a workhorse. I think it's
when he's healthy.
When he's healthy, of course. And I'll tell you, Bruno Fernandes, there's so many tight spaces that he's beat 2 or 3 players, and multiple times kept the ball, kept possession, moved the ball forward. So, and also the Butcher today came through huge.
He has had nightmares.
How about that no-look pass from Bruno Fernandes for the goal?
No, absolutely.
You see that? He was looking the other direction and then hit it this way.
You see that off
completely wrong-footed the defense.
That's what the Portuguese like to do that. Nani and Ronaldo do that stuff, like not looking. So as it was 2-1, you still felt United was still in the game.
Absolutely.
They looked mentally tougher. They looked like they were not going to give up. They will fight to the very end.
That's what I like. That's like I've seen. Like again, we've got humiliated in some of our previous matches, but there was also been matches like against City where you see them like, okay, no, we're not hanging our heads. We feel we still have that confidence that we can do something, and I felt the same today. I honestly I thought the penalty was very unlucky.
It was.
And Onana was that close to saving it.
Yes.
Right. And so,
the good game today.
But I also, I liked the energy that we took into this match.
Yes.
When I looked at how we were moving the ball, right?
Yeah.
The ball's being pinged around, and also the movement off the ball. Guys are getting into space, going and opening up, and I was like, okay, this is the United football that we're familiar with, right? This is what we want to see. And so I saw that continuing to happen. Right. And that's why I said, well, and again, also, there is just something different about United Liverpool. Right. All right? Yeah, regardless of anything that's happened,
the two biggest teams,
we could be in the relegation zone.
It's still going to be a big
And it's still going to be a battle because of the history.
Right.
So I always thought that I wasn't confident, but I knew that we had a chance to at least go and bring it back.
Right. So, as you saw, as it was going, the game turned on its head. We scored first, they equalized. Even for Liverpool to take off the best players like Diaz, it showed they knew something was not working for them today. Then Diaz has been one of the guys who led them to where they are today. For them to pull him off, because he didn't have any chances. We didn't give him a sniff today.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, but also too, he was pulled later in the game, right?
Yeah.
So, but with wingers like that, when they run down and they press. I mean, you only have so much. So, I mean, I think he was still producing. It's just there's limitations. So so.
I still do think that Arne Slot expected more
from Diaz,
from them against us.
Of course. Yeah. Look at our defense against Bournemouth, against Newcastle. We were just against Wolves, just a ball in the center of the box. I was telling you this morning, it's a goal. But today they realized, hang on.
Also, I also just want to go and do a call out for Harry Maguire because we have shit upon that man so often.
He would have been a hero today.
For good reason in the past. And honestly, for him to have come back from, I mean, he was really in poor form for a long time.
Yeah.
And
he stood up today.
And he knew that stuff. And for him to actually have built himself back up to become a person that we actually kind of feel confident in now. Like, kudos to him.
Yeah, he's a true professional, and I also think he's been a scapegoat for a poor team, for a lot of times.
Yes.
He does make some terrible errors, but everybody at the times that we're worse, we're making a lot of errors.
It seems like he has learned from those, and he has been man enough to go and not listen to all the chatter and come out. So, kudos to him.
And he's done very well with England at Euros and the international stage as well.
Yeah.
So he's been consistent. He's a true professional.
Right. So, the question people have been texting me: should Xerxes have taken that chance of passing him away?
No, 100% pass. But if you look at that pass, it's a very poor pass because he chopped it. He hit the ball at an angle and it bounced. So McGuire's hand on that ball and it bounced. So I think Xerxes' pass could have been significantly better and put McGuire in a better position to strike the ball better. So it's actually a shit pass from Xerxes.
So I'm not gonna go that far because his momentum is coming this.
So Xerxes taking the chance himself.
No. I still agree with the pass. I still agree with the pass. Right. Very unselfish, and he saw that he's open. Right. But again, when your momentum is coming here, it's difficult to go and
as a striker, should he have chipped?
No.
Or is it a confidence thing that made him pass?
No. I'm still okay with the pass. He's right. It wasn't on the floor for an easy kind of hitting.
Yeah.
However,
the ball still had a bit. Yeah.
When you're moving forward, it's hard to go against your momentum to strike. I also think with the strike, he tried to come in
with the
I say go with the laces, because if you hit it with the laces, then you can hit downwards.
Yeah.
And he came in, and if you actually look where he struck on the shin, and that's why it went over.
Yeah.
And so if he would have actually gone and tried to go and hit it with the laces, I think that's easier to go and keep it under the bar.
Right.
I mean, hindsight's 20/20. So
that's why
my thing though is that I'm just happy that we were making the opportunities in the first place, because this team has not always even created those opportunities.
Exactly.
Well, Hoyland had an excellent opportunity in the
first half.
Should have scored that as well.
But there was no one to pass for. He didn't have an option to pass.
But he still had enough angles, and there was still enough distance between him and the keeper for him to do a little bit better. I mean, he could have slotted it to the right or left.
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing: is that I hate to give any kind of credit towards Liverpool, but I saw that, I'm like, if that was Mo Salah, I think he puts that away.
With his right foot, because he's coming on his left. The only option was to twist and roll with the right foot. So
I'm just high percentage opportunity.
I'm just saying, like, if you are a striker, you have got to find a way to finish. And again, I think we finish our chances. We come out with 3 points today.
Yeah, right. So as it stands now, United have got on the points. Should have got 3 points. What are you giving on a scale of 10 to Man United performance today as a team? What would you grade them?
Out of 10 from what we were previously in the last 5, 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about a 9 to me. I mean, you're going against the best team, not only in the league, but probably arguably in Europe right now.
Yeah.
And we gave it to them from beginning to end. Not only that, it's a new system, and we played well with that system. The amount of passing that came out of the wing backs and ball possession that we've had, and the work rate, I mean, I don't know how much better it can get. That same work ethic, like I said, beat Liverpool last year, and we gave it to right now the leaders, in the Premier League. So that's a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10
with the circumstances given.
Yeah. What are you giving?
So no, I think it's a good point. It's like we need to figure out, okay, how are we rating this compared to our previous performances? And so I would say I agree. Comparatively, 9 out of 10. Overall, for what I expect, what I want United to be, I'm going to give it more of a 7, right?
Well, give it like a tale of history here, so it's like, of course, we can't compare it to Fergie times.
Right. He always brings which is understandable. The standards have dropped. They've dropped.
Yeah.
So, and I want us to get back to those standards. So, again, much credit to the boys today. I think they came out, they fought, they didn't put their heads down, especially when they went down. And one thing I was also saying is that, like, I still question kind of the decision to bring Amrin in mid-season, because it seemed like Ruud had a decent kind of thing going. And what do
you do? You're only delaying the change, though. So what are you going to do? You're going to go 6 months later, and it's 6 months.
Like I said, I'm not certain about this. I'm just saying is that it's always hard when Amrin is bringing in a completely new system, right? And you're trying to do that mid-season. And we had some decent results with Ruud, who was kind of continuing the system. So part of me wondered, like, should we just allow Rude to stay to the end of the season.
It wasn't.
I don't think.
I don't think so. The reason why it was
so.
too many. It's such a long season for Rude to take. If it was like the last 10
6
games,
months in a transfer
That's-
window, no, in the middle there.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, my point being is that with the humiliation that we've seen the last things is not necessarily an indication of United's quality. It's an indication that we're trying to course correct in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
And so to a certain extent, that's somewhat to be expected. And I think as the guys go in, understand and feel more comfortable with Amorim's system, as we saw today, again, I love the way we're moving the ball.
yeah.
The ball's being pinged around, whatever, guys are moving off the ball, and it's like, okay, I feel like the guys are kind of starting to get it.
Yeah.
And so if we can continue that,
Yeah.
fantastic. So my point being is that if somebody's going to go and judge us based on our last few performances, I don't think that's necessarily indicative of who we are, what's going to be our season. It's indicative of a mid-season course correction.
There you go.
I mean, cheers Amorim for sticking to his guns and keeping that system. We could have easily known going into Anfield, like, putting a back four, something that we are more of a defensive system. Without the wing backs, it been more reserved going into that, maybe to try to, go in for a point, for the draw. But he's come in and he's sticking to the system, and that takes a lot of guts.
Honestly, and I have a lot of respect for him because he has made some tough decisions, like leaving Rashford and Garnacho off the roster.
He's
and he
showing
got
people who's boss.
There was so much shit there, and then we got a positive result and stuff. And so it's like, okay, this is a guy that he's sticking to his guns.
Yeah.
He's
and not changing for the team for the sake of all right, maybe they can't get this system. I'm just going to change. No, he said this is the system. You must learn. If not,
so I'm just hoping that also builds confidence with the players that they can trust him, even if they're not sure what he's doing and stuff. That being said, also another British jab. But when I watched, did you see the weather today?
yeah.
We thought it might be canceled because of the snow and ice.
Yeah.
And I saw Amorim sitting there on the side where it's coming down, and I actually wondered, it's like, does he ever regret leaving
Sunny Portugal.
leaving the Mediterranean climate? I could be drinking some Portuguese wine right now, and here I am on this fucking island.
So the last question we're going to say: who would you rate as United's man of the match today?
Wow, that's a good question. I would say really Bruno Fernandes, because he was in the center of that midfield all day. He rarely lost possession. He beat a lot of people in close quarters. He distributed the ball very well, and he was relentless from beginning to end. So, to me, I think he was the center point of it. And I think without him, I don't think we would have had the ball movement that we would have had, right? So, Diallo's tenacious. He's always putting in the workload. But Bruno Fernandes today, to me, was the man of the match. I wonder who was the man of the match. You guys know?
Well, no, I think it's difficult to say because I think it was a collective effort today.
Yeah.
Right? But
a lot of people said